Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Will Dinwiddie here. Today's word of the day is fear. The definition of fear is to be afraid and worried. Okay, so on your road to your success, excuse all the posing, just look good in this tank top here. On your road to your success, fear and worry are going to be a regular part of that journey. What I mean is that you can't escape fear and you can't escape worry. They're just a regular part of life. What you have to learn how to do is control your emotions and how you look at it. As a parent, and as any parent can attest to this, you're always worried and afraid for your kids. You're always afraid something bad might happen to them, and you just want the best for them. But you also have that other side of you that worries that something bad could happen, and you just don't want that. But that's normal, okay? Every time I jumped out of a plane when I was in the Army, and even when I skydived, when I got out of the Army, there was always a fear that this could be my last moment on Earth. These could be my last moments because my parachute may not open. Or when I was rappelling off a mountain or rappelling out of a helicopter, there was always a fear that something could go wrong and you could fall to your death. You could fall and hit the ground or hit the rocks or whatever. Every time I scuba dived, I was afraid that I could drown. There was always a fear that I could drown because I didn't learn how to swim until I was 12 years old, because from the time I was 12 years old and before that, I was always scared of drowning, so I just never got in the water. I was just always afraid of it. And there was no real reason for me to be afraid of it other than the fact that I was just afraid of things when I was a kid. I was afraid of getting hurt. I got bullied a lot when I was a kid. From 5 years old to 17 years old, I lived in fear. Every day I went to school, I was always afraid someone was going to hurt me. Someone was going to lock me in a locker and I wouldn't be able to get out of it. Someone was going to throw me in a trash can or humiliate me or embarrass me. Because it happened so much growing up, I was always in constant fear of it. I was in constant fear of getting jumped and beat up. I got hung in a tree by my backpack and got my backpack ripped up. People used to do that to me all the time when I was a kid. So I lived in constant fear. But that never prevented me from walking to school anyway and doing what I needed to do anyway. I still did it anyway. I still stood up. One day I remember thinking in my head, I'm like, look, Will, this is the way it is. Every day it's like this, so you can either stand up and do something about it, or you can take it, but either way it's going to happen to you. And so one day I just got the rationale, I'm going to do something about it. Instead of just living in fear, I'm going to overcome it and see what happens. I'm going to step up to the bully instead of letting them just push me around today. I am going to step up and jump out of the door, take the step out of the door, instead of let the fear hold me back and be one of the few that doesn't. The one thing that will happen to you if you let your fear control you is that you will start to live with regret. The one thing that I don't have is I don't have any regret because I am constantly overcoming my own fear. So there's nothing for me to regret because I'm constantly learning from every fear that I overcome, learning from every achievement that I achieve. It brings me closer to the success that I want. I am constantly achieving because I am constantly working towards overcoming my weaknesses. One of my main goals back in 2008 was to work on all my weaknesses in my body and to let go of my strengths for a while, because I felt like the only way for me to become a champion and for me to start winning these strongman tournaments is if I stopped focusing on my strengths and started focusing on my weaknesses, so that way I could win. So that's a hard thing to do. You have to overcome, and overcoming requires fear, and there's worry, because I was worried that, oh my gosh, I'm not squatting the same way I used to. I'm going to lose all my strength. That's not true. What happened is that my strength went down a little bit, but then it shot up to beyond what I was before because I allowed myself the ability to work on my weaknesses without worrying about losing my strength. I mean, that worry was there, but I just overcame it regularly, So it's like that helped propel me to become the strongest that I've ever been. And this is why I'm constantly working on new things and trying new things. I try new things, and if it works, I use it, and if it doesn't, I don't use it. And another thing, just because it works for me doesn't mean that it's going to work for somebody else. So you got to work on you. You gotta focus on you. You gotta think about what you can do to make you better. So whatever your fears or your worries are, you need to focus on fixing yourself and making your weaknesses into strengths, so that way you can become all that you believe that you are capable of becoming. If you want to be all that you can be, you have to be courageous. You have to practice courage, and you have to overcome fear regularly. It's just a requirement on the road to your ultimate success. Okay, so the word of the day was fear. Fear is a regular part of your life. I want you to understand that it's normal to be afraid sometimes. What you want to focus on and what I want you to think about is practicing courage to overcome fear, because every time you overcome fear, every time, there's not one time that you will overcome fear that you will ever have a negative thought about it. It will make you more confident. It will make you a better person to step up and overcome. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to be right all the time, but it just means that you're acting with courage and you're demonstrating the strong parts of you. Step up and stand up for yourself. Don't let the negative voice in your head, the voice that will try to talk you out of it and give you a list full of reasons to talk you out of why you shouldn't do it because it's dangerous. You know what? It's dangerous not to be the best that you can be, because then you become like everybody else, mediocre. And then what difference did you make with your life? Okay? If you want to make the most out of your life, you have to be willing to step up to your fears, overcome them, demolish them, and move forward and take on bigger challenges. That's what it's going to take to be the ultimate you. That's what it takes. Overcome those fears. Don't let the fear hold you back. And to understand that it's normal. It's normal to feel it. What separates the successful from the unsuccessful is how they attack it, or if they don't attack it and they just let it attack them. Okay? So remember, word of the day is fear. We want to overcome that with courage. And as always, don't be average, be epic, baby.